this app we have created, which is actually a functional component. But if I go to ReactJS website, like here we have, and in this website on the right side, if you go to the main concepts, then we have a component and props. Yeah, we know about component, we know about props, but here we have a new thing which is called class based component. So let's now convert our functional component into a class based component. So how to convert it? So it's a syntax like class and the name of the class, which is extending react.component, and finally we are rendering, which is a function which return then this JSX. Okay, so this should be like a class and then app, which is extends react.component, and then we have a render which is going to return the JSX just like this. So let's return it. Now I will comment this functional component and see whether this is going to work or not. So yes, we have this, and if I refresh, yeah, it is still working. So you have seen that it is so much easy to convert between the functional component to the class-based component. But why we have a two different system of creating the components? So functional component initially are only designed as a pure component, like where we don't have anything. It's just for rendering or having static JSX, which is never going to change. Or you can say like where we are not doing anything. And in this documentation, you can see it says the above two components are equivalent from the React point of view. Class and functional component both have the same feature that we will discuss. Yes, both have the same features. But in this class component, we are extending this react.component, which makes it a little harder to manage, and this is not as efficient as the functional component. Also, with the introduction of React hooks, now the React class-based component are very less useful, and functional component is used in everywhere. You have seen that when we have created this application also given us the functional component, not the class-based component. If you want to learn more about class-based component, yes, you can go on this page and you can learn about this. But as I told you, because class-based component is not much in use because of the hooks and functional component, so we are not going to cover many things of the class-based component. But since we are learning about the class-based component, let's see how we can define some props. So in this class-based component, we need to create a constructor which actually getting the props. But whenever we are calling the constructor, remember the object-oriented programming. If you know, or if you don't know, you can see that this app is actually extending React component. So since this app is a class which is extending React component is also a class which also holds some constructor. So because we are extending, we need to call the constructor of the parent class or the super class. So the keyword is super. So by doing this, we are calling this constructor, this one, the super class constructor, inside the constructor of our own class. And what is a constructor? Constructor is a function which is going to run automatically whenever the app or the class is instantiated or created. So by doing this, we are telling our class-based component that, hey, class-based component, these are the props, and we are also getting the props, the by default props of the component from this react.component. So this is the way. Now next is, if you want to create some state this dot state is the keyword, and let's say title is hello React. So now we can show that state here, and I can say this dot state dot title. We need to use this and this referring the current class we are working on. Now if I save this file, and yes, this is rendering, and you can see this hello React is coming from this state. If I change it to hello React 2, you will see it is now updated to 2, which is inside the state. But now we are going to use a functional component, so I will going to comment this out overall and then move this functional component, because this is we are using, and then we will see how we can proceed with the functional component in our React course.